Welcome back to Phinys Garage. I'm Gray, and today we're going to be taking the full exhaust from the 96 Montero off the car, and then eventually we're going to be swapping it with the 99 Montero's exhaust. The exhaust in the 96 Montero might be really sandy because it came from the desert, but just by looking at it, it's pretty much rust-free. And overall, it's a pretty clean exhaust system, which is why we're taking it off of the 96 parts car and swapping it over to the 99 Montero. The 99 Montero came from Tennessee, which means it's probably really rusty, and that's correct. Looking at where the muffler attaches to the end pipe, you can see how rusted it looks. It literally looks like pancakes. There's a bunch of layers all right there, flaking off, ready to just come right off. I bet if we took that off, we probably wouldn't be able to put it back together. Now, we could just take certain parts off the 96 Montero and swap it onto the 99, but if we have a perfectly good exhaust system on the 96 Montero, why not salvage the exhaust system and swap it off to the car that has a really rusty exhaust system. Now, we did take the front torsion bars off this car, so it's sitting extremely low to the ground. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to squeeze myself under there, because as you can see, my head touches. I can't go fully underneath here because my head stops. My head stops for me from going underneath here. So I'm either going to have to use my very long arms and try reaching underneath this car, or I might have to go from the back, which is kind of scary. But nothing can happen because the car is on all four wheels, so it's not like it's going to fall on me. But if there are any wasps under there, I will get a very warm welcome to them. I'm kind of glad that we got the gas tank out of here because it's giving me a lot of headroom to get underneath here and try and get these bolts out. Without this gas tank on, it'd probably be very difficult to do this. Especially the bolt up on the very top. Just going to put this on here, give it a few whacks, see if it'll loosen it up. If not, the last case scenario that I want to do is cut these bolts off, only because it's tight, cramped quarters, you have sparks going everywhere. Not really my ideal situation, but if that's the last, cause, then that's just how it's gonna be. Hasn't moved a bit. So it seems like this bolt has welded itself to the bracket of this running exhaust in pipe here. So it looks like we will have to end up cutting the head of the bolt off and then drilling it out. That'll be fun. Not what I planned on for this, but sometimes you run into some issues and you just have to deal with them. Now, I wanted to do this all this afternoon, but the issue with having to cut these off now is we cannot take off the rest of the exhaust. And here's why. So this is where it connects, and then it runs to the muffler, which is right there, and then eventually towards the front where we'll get to the cats somewhere up there, and then the exhaust manifolds. Technically, this is not an issue. We could just leave it and continue taking off the rest of the exhaust up there. But I kind of wanted to take it off from the back and work my way forward because it means we have less stuff to maneuver over this intricate frame and body parts. Now, it doesn't look like this is that big of a deal because, here's the exhaust pipe that goes over the axle. That's not a big deal. So we may be able to actually just take the bolt out of this hanger here, take the bolt out of that hanger right there, and then hopefully the bolts up there come loose. And we should just be able to take this whole thing out. But since it does extend probably about another 2 feet, it will make it a little tricky because we may not have enough room up front to push it forward because we have to push this forward this much room, like this length, in order to get this pipe out. But look how much room there is since we did take the gas tank out. There is quite a bit of room under here. And then from my point of view, this is what it looks like. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but it is. Okay, so we have probably about 3 to 3.5 feet lengthways, and then long ways, front to back, we probably have 2 feet, which doesn't seem like much wiggle room, but it's better than being, like, for example, well, I can't even lay down because there's this rear frame rail here, but if you were laying down, essentially, you would have the equivalent headroom, probably from, let's say, here, down. So you'd have maybe about a foot or a foot and a half of room to work. And you can't even really get to this area because there's a gas tank right here. So with having the gas tank down and the gas tank bracket or shield, it gives us a lot of room to work on here. Now, I don't think we'll be under here any much longer or for any other things on the car because there's nothing really under here that we could get or that would be savable, salvageable, that I could think that we could take off. So let's go down out of here and let's go to the front of the car and see if we can take the bolts out that are holding the muffler on. Now I'm going to show you guys how I got in and out of here. Guys, it's actually quite interesting to say the least. We're going to lay down. Now you got to be really careful because there's 2 bolts right here on the frame, and if you stand up or raise your head too quickly, boom, you're going to penetrate your skull. Probably very painful. Scoot out and pull ourselves out. Now you guys have a way better view than I do, because unfortunately I cannot go from underneath the back of the car. I'm gonna have to go from the side of the car, meaning my view is obscured. So I can tell the muffler is right here. You guys see my fingers. This is the muffler, and the catalytic converter is behind it. Just from looking at this, I think there's only 2 bolts that hold on this muffler over here. Unfortunately, I cannot see the other side. You can't see the bolt that I'm working on. It's really, really tough. I'm going to spray some more penetrating fluid on it. I really hope that it actually ends up coming out and I don't just twist the head off and then the bolt snaps on me. Either way, if that happens, or if the bolt is just stuck and it won't move anymore, it doesn't really matter because that means we're going to have to end up cutting it off. If the bolt breaks, we cut the bolt. If the bolt doesn't move at all, we cut the bolt. Same result. So, we will see. I'm curious if the side that you guys can see will come off too, or if it'll be stuck. Because right now you can only see the side, well, you can't see the side I'm working on. Oh gosh, this thing's on here. 96 Montero, that's 26 years this bolt has been on here. Actually, it's been on here for 27 years because they pre-build these cars a year before. Okay, I'm not going to take it all the way out because we still need to get to the other side. Oh, the other side's coming. Wow, the other side's really loose. I wish I could see what you guys could see, but I can't. So I'm going to assume it's coming loose. It feels like it, but it also feels like I'm not really on it. I've taken out all the bolts that's going to hold this muffler slash in pipe onto the car. Now I've decided instead of taking out the hangers, I'm just going to remove the bolt that connects the exhaust to the hanger itself, mainly because I think it's just going to be easier. This hanger in particular has 2 little prongs and they're curved up. So they're curved like that. And I feel like that's going to be really difficult to get off as a single person. These hangers are 20 years old. They are rubber, so they may not be good. It might be better just to buy some all new ones. So we're just gonna take this bolt out and see if it'll drop down. There's a hanger right there, and then there's a hanger on the other side. I did not even notice that one right there. That'll be interesting to get to. I think what we'll have to do for that one is we'll have to crawl back underneath here so we can get to that hanger bolt. Here's the 2 prongs that I was talking about. Hit your head on these, probably puncture your skull, or at least hurt really bad. And in order to gain access to this bolt, I have to squeeze myself all the way to the very front by the rear diff. Not a very comfortable place to be in, But it's what we got to do in order to get access to this bolt. I hope this is the right size. It should be a 12, which is actually quite strange because the bolts that hold the pipes to the car themselves are 14s. And, you know, I've noticed that some of the bolts on this car are 13 and 15s, and most of them are 12. I have yet to come across a 14, and I think this is my first 14 I've come across. Guess we'll take these bolts out, and then we'll go up to the hanger up there and take those bolts out. But what's going to happen is that this is going to fall down, so essentially this pipe is going to be resting on the axle itself. Well, this muffler is actually quite heavy. I'm using my foot, I'm trying to use my foot at least to prop it up, but it doesn't even want to go up. It's that heavy. That's insane. I hope I can get this out by myself. I think I will be able to. But it's probably going to fall on the ground. And we'll just have to drag it out. Alright, I think that one's out. I guess what we'll have to do is we'll have to take that hanger bolt out, and then this will, I mean, it's already dropped down, but I'll go back up there and we'll try to pull it down so it'll be at an angle. This camera angle, guys. Okay, it'll be like this, and then I'll lift this back up, and then it should just nosedive out of here. So let's scoot ourselves out of here, go and do the hanger bolt up front, and then try to maneuver this muffler out from underneath this car. Now something that's going to happen is, as soon as I take this bolt out or it becomes loose, this whole part is going to fall down. And there's nothing I can do about stopping it. It's just going to do it. I don't think it'll be strong enough to dent the muffler. Not that it really matters because it already has a bunch of dents in it. So we just gotta prepare ourselves that this is gonna fall. Oh, there we go. It's out. So now I'm gonna grab here. My arm's definitely. Oh my hands. Oh, nothing like getting your hand crushed. But it's down, so I'll take that bolt out so we don't lose it. Look at all that sand. I'm back underneath the car because I need to maneuver this pipe out of here. It's gonna be really tricky. We don't have a lot of wiggle room here, but we got to make it work. And there we go. We got the muffler and the end pipe out from underneath the car. Man, was that so difficult. And in the process, I crushed my hand, and now my pinky hurts. I think I'll be okay.